Hello everyone. Good morning, all the 10th standard students. So today we are going to learn about a new point, that is architecture and sculpture. So there are a number of rock cut caves in India. If we say about the specific our country or Indian country, then in Indian country there are number of rock cut caves are there. Okay. So there are number of rock cut caves are there in our country or in our India. Then the tradition of rock cut caves originated in India in 3rd centuries BC. If we see the tradition of rock cut caves in our country, then it is originated, it is goes back from the 3rd century BC or the before Christ. From that time this tradition of rock cut caves started there. Technically, the entire composition of rock cut caves represent a union of architecture and sculptural art. Technically, if we see that the entire sculpture or the entire compositions of the rock cut caves represent a union of architectural and sculptural art. That then its entrances, interiors with its carved columns and image are excellent specimens of sculptural art. If you see this sculpture, then their entrance, their architecture, design, their specimen, they are very excellent. The painting on the wall and ceiling have carved, also important that, or the we say if you see that entrance, allowing that painting on the wall, ceilings, they survive in some of the caves till today. Their paintings, whatever that on the ceiling is there, paintings on or on the wall, it is survived or it is present. Now also we can see in present time also the rock cut cave at Ajanta and Veru in Maharashtra were declared as a World Heritage Site in the year 1983. So the rock cut caves from our Maharashtra, if we go towards the Aurangabad, Veru and Ajanta's rock cut caves, they declare as a World Heritage Site in the year 1983. Some of the caves are there. Here one example, Ajanta cave, that is number 19 entrance. So if we see the pictures also, they are very beautiful that, and if you visit the place is also, that site is also very beautiful or very, and so we can say interesting that once we visit, especially if you go there in a rainy seasons only, then it is again more attractive that in the month of the what is that September, October, if we go there, too much beautiful sight we can see that everywhere, green lush grass, waterfalls. It is interesting to see such type of a sight or a scene. Then the temple architecture in India also began to develop around the 4th century CE. Temple architecture, to build the different kinds of temples, that type of technique or that skill also start to be developed in the 4th century CE. That during the Gupta period, the temple built at the beginning of the Gupta period had only the sanctoriums or the Garbhagraha and a veranda with the 4 columns. So during the Gupta period, that temple architecture has only the sanctorium means what that sanctorium is what the Garbhagraha means a main part, main place of the temple, that where that statue is there, and next veranda, that is in front of the space, there 4 columns were there in front of the immediately front of the temple. Now also if you see the temples, then a main part of the temples is there where the actual god or goddess statue is there, portrait is there, and in front of that left space 4 columns are there and veranda space to sit there, like in this there. So that started there. The temple architecture in India had reached its peak by the 8th century CE. So this skill or techniques, temple architecture technique or the skill, it start to accelerate, flourish. It reached up to its peak in the 8th century. This is easily testified by the magnificent compositions of the Kailash temple of Verur. If we see the Kailash temple of Verur, there we can understand the technique or the skill, what kind of a skill they use. By the medieval period, various styles of temple architecture had developed in India. In the medieval period, if you see that different types of temple architecture, that style or techniques start to be developed, it start to be flourished in India. The style of temple architecture are identified by the style of tower. Now, how we can be identify the style of temple architecture? It is identified by the style of a tower. Each and every temple has its own specific tower. That tower means upside that canopies where that longest. So it has own its unique style. So on the basis of their style, we can understand or we can identify the technique or the skill what they use in a temple architecture. On the basis of the tower, or we to that tower we can call in Marathi as a shikhar. Also we can call that kalas. What is on the tower? It is at the top positions, and the flag is there, so that we can call as a kalas. So the Nagarat style of North India and the Dravid style of South India are the two principal type of styles in Indian temple architecture. Nagara style and the Dravid style. Nagara style it is toward the northern India, and Dravid style it is toward the South India. That so different technique is there. North side different technique and the south side different technique. If we see in our side, then it is a Nagara style of temples are there. Nagara style of temple architecture in our side, and if you go toward the south side, it all the temples, most of the temples they are toward the Dravid style of temple architectures. The difference is there.